In this video, I'm going to be looking at the 2025 Eagles season, looking at each of the teams, and just quickly breaking down what I think is going to happen. Now, obviously, the schedule, we don't know what's going to happen yet, obviously. So just looking at these opponents and looking at them and seeing what I think is going to happen. And looking at, the Eagles games last year, this will sort of give me a bit of a point of analysis to rank them based off of. So, looking at them, you can see in the regular season, beat the Packers, lost the Falcons, beat the Saints, lost the Buccaneers, beat the Browns, Giants, Bengals, Jaguars, Cowboys, Commanders in Philly, Rams, Ravens, Panthers, Steelers, lost the Commanders in DC, and then beat the Cowboys, getting the Giants in the playoffs, beat the Packers, Rams, and Commanders all at home, and took down the Chiefs. So, based on that, in the division, they went 5-1, sweeping the Cowboys and the Commander, and then Giants, and losing the game to the Commanders. And I see that is going to repeat, because I don't think, this could obviously change depending on what they do, and this is a very preliminary prediction, but I don't think that the Cowboys or Giants have done anything to really make me worried about them as a Philly fan. If anything, we lose on them if we punted the game to them, but even the punt game, when all of our starters were out, where the Eagles still beat the Giants 20-13. Look at who was in the game. And the Eagles still, with their backup, still won. But the Commanders, with Jane Daniels, continuing to improve, obviously, I can see that is a game where the Eagles could lose to in DC like they did last year. But looking at conference opponents, Bears are interesting because obviously, the Bears hired Ben Johnson as their head coach, who is very good. But I'm not taking the Bears seriously unless they prove it, because every year they think they have a good offseason, and they never actually improve. The Lions are in this weird position where, they lost, their coordinators. Doesn't say so here, but they lost both Aaron Glenn and Ben Johnson. But there's still so much firepower on the team. The Eagles were behind them in the standings for a reason, I feel like. And it wasn't even just like they beat teams, like they beat good teams. They blew them away as well in a lot of cases. They blew them away. A lot of teams they blew away weren't good, but the Lions have really shown that they could do anything. And I think they lost because they were injured and ran out of firepower. So I'm actually really worried about the Lions game. And even though it's at home, I do think that the Eagles will lose to the Lions. Even though the Lions I don't think will be as good this year. Packers, the Eagles beat them twice, and again, the Packers haven't really gotten much better, and the Vikings was just a fluky year that they were even in a position to go 14-3 in the first place, so I think that the Eagles will beat the Vikings. Rams, we know what Saquon Barkley can do against the Rams. Looking at the games in the playoffs, Saquon Barkley had over 205 rushing yards against them. In the regular season, Saquon Barkley had, had 255 rushing yards against them. So that's a total of 460 scrimmage yards against the Rams across 2 games. I'm not worried. But the Buccaneers, you're playing them on the road. You're playing a team that historically has tended to dominate you. Just look at the last, Eagles versus Buccaneers games. Because obviously they beat you 33-16 earlier this season. In the playoffs last year, they beat you 32-9. 2023, the Eagles do win that game in Tampa. But 2021, the Buccaneers beat the Eagles and Jalen Hurts. 2022 in the playoffs, 31-15. Granted, they had Brady, but still, Bowles is a mastermind of a defensive coach, and he is very good at countering Nick Sirianni, especially his offense. Interconference opponents, again, the Broncos and Chargers, I think, had good off seasons, but I would still take the Eagles over them. The Raiders, again, just too much is unknown about that team, and I don't trust Geno Smith anyway, so I think they're going to win. The Chiefs, I think, we're going to beat too, based on how Nick Sirianni has really been able to outcoach the Chiefs ever since losing Super Bowl 57. But the Buffalo Bills, I think the Eagles are going to lose that game because the Bills have really shown a ton of resilience with Josh Allen at the helm. 2024, they improved on their season despite expected to be a punt year. It's in Buffalo, and I know it was right before collapse, but the Bills really had the Eagles on their ropes in 2020 3. So I do think that the 2025 Bills-Eagles game will be a Bills victory. The Eagles will go 13-4 as a result.